the United stands. I'm Manchester United. I'm not Manchester United. I've never said that before. I'm Manchester United. I'm Gary Neville. We're Manchester United, Mark. I'm not Manchester United. Never done that before. I'm Mark Goldbridge. And this is the United stand. And we've got all your latest Manchester United news and transfer news as a big development comes around Jarrad Branthwaite from David Ornstein. We're looking forward to discussing that. Also, Amrabat decision very, very close. Greenwood, a bid has apparently gone in as well. We've got the Premier League fixtures for you as well. We'll be playing Fulham at home, Brighton away and Liverpool at home in our first 3 games. What are your thoughts about that? Very happy. I know it's the middle of June. It's the 18th of June. We don't play for 2 months, but I think it was really important that we got a mid-table to bottom part of the league team on the opening day at home. Respect to Fulham. They're a good side. They could beat us. We weren't great against Wolves on the opening day last season, but I think being at home is so important on the opening day. So we'll talk about all of that as well. Also, a couple of updates coming in from Fabrizio Romano around a few bits as well. As I said, Amrabat Dimarzio is saying that he could be staying at Manchester United. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? In fact, maybe we can get a little bit of a poll going on. Let's not get physical. I've already got my words wrong this morning. Let's get interactive this morning. Would you keep Amrabat? Yes or no? If you're joining us live, get in the chat there. Love that. Also, it's Portugal Day. Bruno, Andalo. Can't wait for that tonight at 8 o'clock. Heroes Fever continues. Check your temperature. Lovely stuff. Right, here we go, let's go. So, look, first thing I want to talk about, don't know whether many people have seen this. We always try and bring you the good news on the United Stand 10 o'clock show and try and find things that other people don't find. You might have seen this, some of you, but a very interesting piece from David Ornstein explaining the possible parameters around this Manchester United Jarrad Branthwaite deal. Now, last night, Fabrizio Romano gave an update on what is going on as far as he's concerned around the deal for Jarrad Branthwaite. However, we've got a really interesting update from David Ornstein. So last night, Fabrizio Romano said Man United's interest in Branthwaite remains concrete, firm. The club knows that the player is keen on the move. Personal terms are not a problem. Everton want at least 65 to 70 million pounds and United do not want to pay this. If the price doesn't come down, United will consider other targets. And I think Romano really, at the end of the day yesterday, sort of summarised the situation. United could walk away. Now, some people think that we will walk away, and we spoke about Guehi last night, and we know that there is Todibo and other options out there like De Ligt. Some people think it's a fake, just to try and get the price down with Everton. Very interesting what David Ornstein said, and could give you some real insight this morning as to why walking away is likely and could actually happen. I think what is fair to say is that we're really close on a decision on Branthwaite, one way or the other. Will United put another bid in? I think they will. Will it be the final bid? It could be, and then we walk away. We've never done this before. Some people would say, well, if we put 2 bids in, Mark, we're never going to move away. But this is what David Ornstein said. The profit and sustainability rules are very important to a lot of teams. There is a pinch point coming on the 30th of June. Now, profit and sustainability rules are something that all Premier League clubs need to comply with. If they don't, you end up where Everton were this season with points deductions. So David Ornstein has said there's a lot of clubs in the Premier League that are facing a pinch point in the next 12 days before the 30th of June where they've got to comply with the PSR profit and sustainability rules. Everton are one of those clubs, although it's rumoured that it's a relatively small amount they've got to comply with, and they may look to do that by selling academy products or raising the money in other ways. However, they are one of those clubs in that position, and the next week is really, really important for all those clubs that have to comply. This then leads to Man United's low offer of £35 million. Now, some people are saying Man United won't want to complete a deal before the 30th of June so they can put it into next year's footballing financial year. But the fact remains is we have put a bid in. And if that bid had been accepted last week, Everton would want that money before the 30th of June because of the PSR rules. So what I would say about Branthwaite with Manchester United is we're very, very obviously willing to do this deal before the 30th of June and file it in this financial football year, which will benefit Everton with their PSR rules. If Everton don't do it and that 30th of June date passes, Man United will probably walk away. Because I think what United have basically done here is, there's a player we want, there's a club that might need to sell, there's an offer, take it or leave it. If you don't take it, we're not going to negotiate with you after the 30th of June because we know that you've gone past that deadline now. So it's a tempter. I think that's what it is. And I think it's a really good update from David Ornstein around that, is because we have put this bid in before the 30th of June. Everton and a few other Premier League clubs have got to comply by the 30th of June. Now, Everton may well find other ways of doing it. But the option is you can just do it with the money that we're going to give you for Jarrad Branthwaite and have some in your pocket. So I think that might be a really interesting aspect to this deal that leads to Man United and Everton doing a deal in the next few days, or Man United walking away. In very simple terms, United have put a low offer in for a player they believe Everton need to sell. If Everton don't need to sell, then I think Man United will walk away because they'll go, look, they haven't gone for that low offer. We've gone past the 30th of June. They're going to hold out for a high fee and we're going to walk away. And I think that is probably what's happening here. And when you look at it like that, it makes sense. There's a player we want. There's an offer we think's reasonable. You need to sell or raise some money in the next 12 days. Do you want our money or are you going to find another way of doing it? If Everton take our money, great. If they don't take our money, it's a big red flag that they're going to piss about for the next few weeks demanding a stupid fee. And we don't need to be there. We don't need to be there. I think Branthwaite's a good player. I want him to come to Manchester United. But if Everton don't want to negotiate on a lower fee and they're holding out for a big fee, you walk away and you work a deal with someone else, don't you? And I think that's where we are with it. Anything on in the Vermin story, says KF. Got no idea what you're talking about. Good morning, Mark. Have you seen the Premier League fixtures for our season? Yeah, well, let me just quickly do that for you, actually, because obviously we've got lots of transfer stuff to talk about this morning. But the Premier League fixtures did come out this morning. We used to, a long time ago, we'd do a video at 9 o'clock reacting to it live. How things have changed. We've got a life. Not us, I think all of us. It's nice to have the Premier League fixtures out. We will actually be playing on Friday, the August the 16th. Will be the first game of the Premier League. So you can cancel your holidays, you can book your holidays, you can start booking it in. We are guaranteed playing Fulham on Friday, the 16th of August at 8 o'clock. Obviously, we're playing in the Charity Shield the week before that on the Saturday. So you can start to map things out now. You can tell people that I can go to your wedding on Saturday, the 17th of August, Cinders. Friday, the 16th of August, we're at home to Fulham. I'm pleased with that. No disrespect to Fulham. I think they are the quintessential Premier League side who can beat anybody and lose to anybody. But at home against Fulham, these are the sort of games. I was joking on Twitter this morning when I said there'll be a lot of journalists and certain United fans who'll be gutted by that because they would have been praying we get Man City away or something difficult so we can lose and they can start the Ten Hag, I told you out, I told you so shit straight from the start. Of course, lose to Fulham at home on the first game of the season, and they've got their bread to eat, haven't they? So, but look, I'm happy with that. I think being at home, first game of the season, it'll be the first time for the fans to get behind this team, get behind this manager, and hopefully get a positive result. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but hopefully that's what will happen. And very, very important that we'll go back to the transfers in a minute. That for that game, we're ready to go. Like we need some players in ready to go. We don't need any hangovers from the Euros or the Copa America where people are injured, etc. Then it's quite interesting after that. Fulham at home, you'd want to win because it's Brighton away, new manager, but could be a difficult game. Then it's Liverpool at home, new manager, but could be a difficult game. And then we've got Southampton away, Crystal Palace away, Spurs at home. So our first 6 games, 3 at home, 3 away. Fulham at home, Brighton away, Liverpool at home. And then international break, Southampton away, Crystal Palace away, Spurs at home. So a good mix is what I would say. Obviously Spurs, Liverpool and Brighton would be the more difficult games. Palace and Fulham would be mid games, and Southampton would be a game you would hope to win, although it's at Southampton. After that, Villa away, Brentford at home, West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, Everton at home, Arsenal away, Forest away. Man City we play in mid-December. Boxing Day fixture is Wolves away, normally at home for that. Final game of the season, Villa at home. So, look, I think it's a reasonable start to the season for Manchester United. You can't read too much into everything because you don't know what your team's going to be. You don't know who you're going to sell. You don't know who's injured. And you don't know who you're going to buy. But on paper, I would hope that I've made mistakes like this be passed. I'm not going to say how many points we're going to get, but Fulham home, Brighton away, Liverpool at home, you would hope 7 points, wouldn't you? You would hope 7 points. You can probably see 5. You could see a scenario where it's 4. But, you know, we want a good start. We want a good start. It's a new start. It's Ineos. I don't want to be in a situation next season where after 4 or 5 games, the press are doing what they want to do. You know, the call-ins are there. Get Ten Hag out. I don't want any of that shit. We've gone with Ten Hag now. Let's get some good signings in. Let's get rid of some of the shit. And let's actually go into year 3 with some momentum and drive. I do not want to listen to the negative minority and the press trying to go after the manager from day one, because they will. I think it's our job as fans and the club's job to just, you know, sweep that into the gutter and get on with building something here. Happy birthday to me, says Rays. Happy birthday, mate. There is so much happening on this special day. How do you find the opening and last 6 fixtures? Find the latter interesting, says Rays. Just go United Stand, MUFC, it's all listed on there. Do we loan out Kamwala? We can't turn him into a Langara with stunted development, says L1. Also, did Boohoo run out of quiz questions? We haven't done Boohoo for a while, but I'm sure they will have quiz questions. And Ryan says, can we get a redo? Do you want to swap games, Mark, says Ryan. I haven't seen Chelsea's first few games, but I know they've got Man City. Thank you very much. So, look, yeah, let's go back to the transfer stories. Next... Look, we're really close on a decision with Branthwaite. I think that's very, very obvious. A first bid went in. Will a second bid go in? Will Everton negotiate? And as David Ornstein has quite rightly pointed out, the 30th of June is a big date for a lot of clubs like Everton who need to comply with profit and sustainability rules. If they find a different way of doing that, I think we walk away. But I think what people are really missing here is that Everton and Man United have got a good relationship, and we pretty much always have had a good relationship. So I'd be very surprised if there isn't something we can do there. Let's move on to Amrabat. 81% of you would keep Amrabat at Manchester United. Now, remember, I think if we give Fiorentina another 10 or 15 million pounds, he's our player. I think we agreed a deal for 20 or 25 million pounds at the end of August, whereby we give them 10 for the loan, and then we have an option to buy for the remaining amount. So basically, we've already paid 10 million for Amrabat. Did we get 10 million's worth of him? No. Is it therefore worth chucking another 10, 15 million to make it a permanent deal? Well, 81% of you think it is. Damarcio, who's obviously based in Italy, and look, Damarcio said Ten Hag was getting the sack. Let's not forget. And I think we're very bad. I'm not. Some of you aren't. We're very bad at acknowledging people getting it wrong, but also acknowledging how football journalism works. Just because a journalist gets something wrong doesn't mean they're useless. Football decisions change. Transfer decisions change. Damarcio has always been very good around Italian transfers that impact the Premier League. I never understood for the life of me how he knew that Ten Hag was getting the sack. It didn't make any sense. But when it comes to Italian-linked players, I think he's pretty good. And obviously, Fiorentina is Italian, and Amrabat is a Fiorentina player. So what he's saying is that Galatasaray, and we expect the Turkish market to be quite vibrant, Galatasaray are interested in Amrabat. Interestingly enough, Barcelona were interested in Amrabat in the January transfer window. So there is interest in Amrabat, but Damarcio goes on to say that he could end up staying at Manchester United. Now, I expect that decision to be made very, very soon. Amrabat obviously is Moroccan. He's not playing in the Copa America. He's not playing in the Euros. He's on holiday. He will be back for pre-season at the start of the July month in 2024. And last season, he had an absolutely horrific pre-season. It was so bad that effectively he was training on his own until the back end of August at Fiorentina. So he didn't have a pre-season. So he, as a player, and I haven't spoken to him, is going to be in a position where he goes, I want to know what I'm doing at the start of July. And he probably doesn't want to be going to Fiorentina pre-season with them. So I expect a decision to be made on him in the next 12 days. My inclination is I think we will let him go. I don't think we will sign him. I don't think, even if Ten Hag says yes, I suspect Ineos might look at that and go, it's not really the sort of deal that we should do. If we do keep him, I can understand it. I can understand it. I think he's shown in the FA Cup final, and he certainly showed against Arsenal a couple of weeks before that he's more than capable against decent teams. I mean, look, he had a good game against Arsenal. He had a good game against Man City. I thought he had a good game at Anfield before Christmas, and I thought he played quite well against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So funnily enough, his best games have come against good opposition. So it stands to reason that he'll be able to do it more consistently. I would keep him as a roster. I mean, I would buy a new midfielder. I would have Amrabat, Mount, Mainu and Bruno, and I would sell Eriksen, Casemiro and McTominay. But I think we all know McTominay's going to stay, and therefore I think Amrabat might be the player that goes. Why was there only Saturday fixtures until December? Seems like no Premier League on the Sunday. Everybody watches the United stand, don't they? Varge, thank you very much for your super chat. Okay. For people like Varge who are concerned why all the Premier League games are on Saturday from August until Christmas, they don't release the TV fixtures yet. They've only done it for the first weekend. So the first weekend, we're on a Friday, Liverpool a Saturday lunchtime, Man City Chelsea's on a Sunday, and Spurs are playing on a Monday. Every other weekend, it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday because they haven't done the TV fixtures. Don't worry, Varge. We've not got some new Premier League rule where every game is at Saturday at 3 o'clock. I mean, BT and Sky would be finished. Johnny Matthews says, any news on João Neves, Mark? Well, hopefully he's playing for Portugal tonight. I think it's very, very far-fetched that Manchester United will sign João Neves, but part of me still thinks that there is something that they're trying to work on. I'm not going to say never, ever on João Neves at the moment. I mean, look, it's a new week. That's the colder meter. That's how our hotometer looked at the end of last week. Would I look to update that at the moment? Obviously, if you're not aware of the hotometer, bloody smash a like on the video. It's the star of the summer. When they're hot, they're hot. And Branthwaite at the moment is 8 out of 10 hot. You could say 80%. I'd still put Todibo up there. I think just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's not hot. But on João Neves, he'd be a 3 at the moment. I genuinely think that there is interest. I genuinely think United see João Neves as the player that they want. I just don't know how they do that deal. I don't know how they put a deal like that together, to be honest with you. I really, really don't. Hi, Mark. Love the show. There's also the Community Shield the week before Man City, says Daniel. Yep, I think I mentioned that. But yeah, it's on the Saturday before, the week before. Simon says, morning, Mark. Branthwaite deal, concentrate on Guehi. Forget Branthwaite. When is the new shirt out, says Simon. I think the new kit will be coming out in early July because it's a new sponsor. Rizzo says, good morning, Mark. I would prefer De Ligt because of him being proven in multiple leagues. Thank you for all you and the United Stand team do, says Rizzo. Thank you very much for that. Also, coming in from the Daily Mail and Simon Jones, Valencia have apparently submitted a bid for Mason Greenwood. Now, we're learning as we go. We have to be truthful. We have to provide clarity, and that is what we do. I think that when it comes to somebody like the Daily Mail saying that Valencia have submitted a bid for Mason Greenwood, I don't think it's true. I feel that maybe a bid is about to come in, but I think a team submitting an official bid for Mason Greenwood doesn't come in from the Daily Mail, if I'm being fair. This is going to drop from Romano or Ornstein or something like that. So I don't think we've had an official bid for Mason Greenwood yet from Valencia, but what is very, very clear is that we probably are moving closer towards that. It does feel like over the last few days, Juventus have taken a step back, and clearly Greenwood has probably said he wants to stay in Spain. The thing about Valencia that's a slight concern is that the deal is being discussed quite prominently around 75 million. And sorry, I wish it was 75 million, 25 million. Let's just go to the colder meter, which is for players going out of the door. As you can see, Mason Greenwood is virtually out. 9 out of 10 chance that he will be the first transfer. And yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure it's very close, really close with Greenwood. But I think that is that a deal that is going to happen before the end of June? Don't know. Is it a deal that Man United are going to be happy to do? I think a year ago, £25 million for Mason Greenwood would have been quite a reasonable price. But I think now United, and I think a lot of you would say that probably isn't the sort of price that we would want to take. Now, as I've said to you many times before, the problem that we're going to have is the Premier League market is not available to us. So, yeah, it will be problematic in that sense that the non-Premier League market is very, very difficult to raise funds for. And I think that, look, what we're going to get for Mason Greenwood is, well, what club in Europe has the sort of money that we want? A lot of people are saying 35 to 40 million. I think this could be, I don't want to say what's a good deal and what's a bad deal, really. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say, because I think that when you break it down, £25 million up front with some add-ons might not be the end of the world. And I just hope there's some competition for Greenwood, because if we've got competition for places, then we can probably push that price up. And what clubs seem to be happy to do these days is add-ons. And as we know, Greenwood's a player that still does have growth in him. So I think that I would look at it and go, hopefully, whoever we do a deal with, remember it's pure profit, and that money can just come straight into the club. So I guess we'll wait and see on that one. Larry says, I'm sad for Branthwaite. Maguire has scarred United fans. We used to sign top English talents, but we moved away from that. Now City and Arsenal are doing it. Look, I agree with this point, Larry. If you've tuned in a little bit late, really close on a decision around Jarrad Branthwaite. He is obviously Man United's top target. A bid has gone in. David Ornstein with a very good piece talking about the 30th of June being a deadline for a lot of Premier League clubs who need to comply with profit and sustainability rules. Everton are one of those. Have United put this bid in and said take it or leave it before the 30th of June? And if Everton don't take it, United know Everton want a stupid price and they walk away. I think there's a lot of truth in that. So Branthwaite clearly wants to go. I mean, if Everton want to keep a player that no one else is going to bid... The way I look at it is, and I'm not here to take the piss out of Everton, but we have a good relationship with Everton. We clearly want Branthwaite. Branthwaite wants to come to Manchester United. If Everton want to charge silly money, you're going to end up with a player that wanted to leave. Crack on. No one else is going to step in, I don't think anybody else is going to step in and give Everton 65 million or 60 million for Branthwaite. So we're better off just walking away from it. But what I will say is, and it is wrong, I read the comments, I look on social media, and Branthwaite, for some reason, I think you make a really good point, Larry. I think our fan base is scarred. I think it is. We're very aware of wages, and we're very aware of bad deals from the past. And the amount of comments I've seen about Branthwaite, not worth it, just another Maguire 2.0, Glazers 2.0 signing, overpaying for an average English centre-back and giving him stupid wages. I I disagree. I don't see Branthwaite as Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire was already an established English player who we overpaid massively for on wages and transfer fee. Branthwaite's a lot younger. Branthwaite's more John Stones than Harry Maguire. And look what Everton did with Man City, and look what John Stones did. I don't see Jarrad Branthwaite as Harry Maguire. I see Jarrad Branthwaite as John Stones. And I don't know why Branthwaite is being associated with Harry Maguire just because we've done that type of deal in the past. We have a new ownership now. We have a different type of recruitment model. Branthwaite's always going to cost you more than 40 million quid. That's a given. He will cost you more than 40. The most important thing is that you don't spend more than 50 outright. If we can do a deal between 40 and 50 million pounds outlay with add-ons, it's a good deal. It's got nothing to do with Harry Maguire's transfer. I genuinely don't understand why people are getting obsessed about that. They were Glazer mistakes. That was Woodward. That was Murta. That was Arnold. We've got a completely different setup now, and it's unfair on the player. You know, he hasn't even signed for Man United yet, and you've got people saying it's Harry Maguire again. Joz, welcome to the Members Club. You're an absolute legend. Get your badge in. A few other bits of transfer news to bring you. I mean, it's varied in its quality, I suppose, but I'll just summarise some of it. Manchester United have been linked to Barcelona's striker, Vitor Roque, according to Sport, which is a sneeze coming. Excuse me. There it is. Oh. Allergy. This summer, really bad. I say summer. Anyway, apparently Manchester United, according to Sport, which is a Barcelona outlet, are interested in Vitor Roque, who is a striker for Barcelona. They are believed to value him around £30 million. Look, I didn't bring this in yesterday. I will bring it into the show now. And I think everything is the same around this. There was a story yesterday from Spain that Barcelona are open to selling Frenkie de Jong, and Ten Hag loves de Jong, and a deal for £50 million could be done because Barcelona would love to remove that wage from their club, and de Jong has got no intention of taking a wage cut. I don't want to talk about it. But look, the news is there. I mean, nobody is doing another Frenkie de Jong story with a thumbnail with Frenkie de Jong on it unless David Ornstein or Fabrizio says this is going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Nobody wants to do it. The chat is full of God forbid, we don't want to do it, we can't do it, etc. But that's the reason I bring that story in, and we didn't mention it last night, for obvious reasons, but the reason I'm mentioning it this morning is I trust you not to start getting excited, because I'm certainly not excited that de Jong's coming to United, but I sort of feel that every Barcelona story linking Man United is very much from the United stand 5 principles of a transfer. 1, it's true. 2, it's bullshit. 3, it's the club using Man United to generate interest. 4, it's the agent using Man United to generate interest. 5, it's the agent using Man United to get a contract at the club they're already at. And I think this firmly falls into Barcelona using Manchester United to generate interest. And that's what I think this is. I think we will probably get linked to Araujo again, with Roque now, de Jong. We will get Rafinha. We will get linked to numerous Barcelona players over the next few weeks and months, and I guarantee we won't sign any of them because we're not actually looking to sign a Barcelona player. So look, I might be wrong on that, but I think, we do want to be realistic. I said this last week. We haven't had a summer transfer window for a year. We ignored the January transfer window, and I think some people forget how transfers work. Not every story is true. I don't think we have had a bid from Valencia yet for Greenwood. I don't think we are genuinely thinking about walking away from Branthwaite yet. And I don't think that every story we get linked to is true. Barcelona, they've got to pull levers. What better way I loved your Frankie shirt. Oh, where is that Frankie t-shirt? I think I gave it away, didn't I, in Dublin, Jacinda? I did. I took it to Dublin and I gave it away. I can't even remember the design of it now. It's dead to me. But, yeah, Barcelona have got to pull levers, and what better way to pull levers than to say that a club that needs to do transfers, Man United, are looking at their players. Martin says, Mark, it's probably false news, but I read Zubamendi had accepted our offer and we're going to put in an official bid to Sociedad. Well, you'd please a lot of people in the chat if that was true. Frankie goes to Manchester. That was it, Laser. Yes. Look, Zubamendi looks interesting. I've always said it's more of a chat ting. He's very popular amongst certain elements of our live chat, and there's no doubt that he'd be a very interesting player to bring in. I still think something around João Neves is being cooked up by United. I think it's very, very difficult, but I still think that they're looking at that at the moment. But alternatives, I think it's really interesting. There was a story from yesterday actually around Pellistri and a move to Flamengo in Brazil. Pellistri is really interesting because I think that Pellistri is a player that I felt Ten Hag... Look, I like Ten Hag. I like Ten Hag. And what people don't realise is that I and many others don't live in a world of extremes. Red and green, it's everything in between. It's amber. So... I would sell McTominay, but when he scores those goals against Brentford, I celebrate them, even though some people don't, because it's embarrassing to need late goals against Brentford. I really, really want Ten Hag to be successful, but when he, does things I don't agree with, I'll say it. Now, Pellistri is a player that I just don't think Ten Hag values in his team. I really don't. And I think that... Why are people saying Victor Valdez? Have I said Valdez? I don't know what that's all about. Oh no, who was the last player we signed from Barcelona, says Christopher Black. Yeah, probably was Victor Valdez, you're right. Edison for me would be incredible. I'm going to talk about Edison in a moment, Goldio. But with regards to Pellistri, I just don't think that Ten Hag has ever really taken to him as the sort of player that he wants at his team, which is odd because I think he's the most creative winger we've got. When he went on loan in January and his agent basically took a pop at Ten Hag, I thought, well, that would be the end of that. But then I think it was a few weeks ago saying that Pellistri could be staying at Man United. So I was sort of like on Pellistri and Ahmad. I'm very much like that. I think both could go, both could stay. One could go, one could stay. I know Ahmad and Pellistri are very, very popular in the fan base, and I like both of them. But I think there's a scenario where both leave as much as there is where both stay. So it's interesting that there will be interest in Pellistri, and I think that in a summer where United need to raise money, that £5 to £10 million for Pellistri could be quite interesting. So I would keep an eye on that because there will definitely be interest in him. The latest on Edison, yeah, I mean, look, he is on our list. He has dropped down. We have scouted him a lot. The latest on Edison is that I think he spoke a few days ago. I've not mentioned it. He's been strongly linked with a £38 million move away, and Liverpool were thought to be leading the race, although Atletico Madrid, Juventus, Barcelona have all been touted as making an interest in him. He has been part of the Brazil squad for the Copa America, so obviously that will hinder but not stop a deal. He said this: it always happens when the market opens that all speculation comes, not only about my future but also for other players as well. When I received my call up, I told my wife and my agents, look, now I'm going to the national team, so you have to deal with what comes and what doesn't come. Now I'm going to focus on the national team. It's my first call up, so my head has to be 100% there, and then I will think about my future. I'm very happy at Atalanta. I've just won a great title and I'm very well integrated there. My future is something that doesn't worry me. What worries me right now is doing well here with Brazil, leaving a positive impression because it's my first call up, making sure everyone knows me here, just like everyone knows me in Italy. I'm very focused and very happy, trying to make the most of this. He also added, I trust my agents. I have an agent who has been with me for 13 years. So the moment he thinks something positive is going to happen, he will tell me, and we are in contact about that. We talked a lot about taking advantage of the moment, and right now I'm doing well at Atalanta. I think the speculation should not distract me. If something comes up about a transfer, the club has to accept it first, and that is the most important thing. I have a good relationship with Atalanta, so the moment they come and tell me that they have had some kind of offer, that is when the talks will start. When my time with the national team ends, I will also enjoy a short holiday. It's important to rest, and then I'll return to Italy. I mean, bloody talks a lot, doesn't he? I thought it was just going to be a couple of sentences, but he does talk a lot. So, look, I mean, that doesn't sound to me like there's anything imminent there. I mean, look, when it comes to Liverpool, they're very, very quick at getting things done. The Copa America squad for Brazil does include Edison of Atalanta, and that Copa America runs until, I think, the middle of July. So, I suppose... Yeah, it's starting to drift with Edison, if we're being honest. But I don't know what Man United are looking at in the midfield. I don't know what Man United are looking at in the attack. I don't know what we're looking at left back. I don't know what we're doing with Elise anymore. It's honestly exciting because there is a lot going on. I genuinely don't hear... And I would tell you, I genuinely don't hear that United are doing one deal at a time. In the past, it would be like, right, Dan James, that's done. Right, let's move on to another deal. Oh, no, we've got to sell somebody first. I don't get that from United. What I get from United, and it's only early days in a transfer window, but if I was describing Man United's transfer window at the moment, I would say it's multi-layered. There is multiple contacts with multiple players, and... they're keeping their cards close to their chest in the sense that I don't think they really want long protracted deals that play out in the media for 6 weeks. Obviously, Branthwaite has played out, but in fairness to United, what's happened with the Branthwaite deal? A bid went in, it was rejected, and all we've really had is United might walk away. Now, what I was told is what I said to you yesterday, was at lunchtime, Man United are going to put another bid in, and that'll probably be their final bid, and they might walk away then. But it's not being played out as a drama as much as it was previously. And I certainly don't get the feeling that we're working on one deal at a time. I just don't think we're fully aware of what United are doing, and that can be a good thing, because the great thing is, in the past, you want Bruno, and it's Bruno for weeks, or it's Pogba for weeks, or it's Sancho for 2 years. Whereas I think United might be looking at that striker, and then for some reason it doesn't happen, so you pivot to that one, and it just makes you look far more professional. Because if United had gone all in for Sesko, we want Sesko, and then Sesko says, I'm staying, United look stupid because they're like, well, publicly you've really tried and you've not got him, and then you go after somebody else and everyone knows it's your second choice. I think United are throwing around a lot of conversations with a lot of different players, but it's really exciting because I don't know who the midfielder is. I cannot see how we do a João Neves deal, but to me he looks like he's the number one midfielder we're looking at. The left back I don't know. I still think Elise is possible. Obviously the centre back area, Branthwaite's in front at the moment, but there's so many options there. And as for up front, I just don't know. I saw something this morning about Spurs and Toney, and I do think that Spurs and Toney is the best fit, really. I think Ivan Toney at Spurs fits them like a glove. He'd start every single game. I think that's the perfect deal for Spurs, but that doesn't mean that will happen. And if Toney goes to Spurs and Sesko's staying at Leipzig, where do Man United go next? We were talking last night about Xerxes and his agent fees. I feel, and actually I got a message last night from somebody who'd watched the show about and seen what we'd said about Xerxes' agent fees, and all I really got from them was Xerxes, his agent, is playing everyone at the moment in the sense, and why wouldn't he? Like, he is like, who's interested? And this is what football agents do these days. He is basically going, who is interested in Xerxes? And if it's Milan, Man United, Arsenal, and another, it's like, what are you paying me? 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 And that's problematic because it no longer is about the best project for the player. It's about who's going to pay the agent the most money. And, you know, is that a walk away? I don't know. A few people mentioning Kuna from Wolves. He is a good shout, JT. I'm glad somebody mentioned Kuna because if you missed the start of the show, we were talking about David Ornstein's update about PSR, profit and sustainability rules, and how it could impact Everton. He said a number of Premier League clubs are facing a pinch point in the next 12 days. By June the 30th, some Premier League clubs have got to comply with profit and sustainability rules. And to do that, they've got to raise money. Everton have got to do that. It's not as big a money. They could be able to raise it elsewhere, but it might be why United have put a bid in. I don't know whether Wolves are one of those clubs, but if they are, is there something that could be done there? I mean, it's very unlikely United have got enough money to spend before the June the 30th on 2 signings, but I think Kuna, I do think Kuna is an interesting player, and I do think he's a player that, you know, United are certainly scouting, but it all depends on Wolves and how much money they want to spend, really, doesn't it? Just having a quick look around. Just a little bit of an update as well. Quite an interesting update. I don't care about this, but it's news, and a lot of you will care. Striker Garassi. A lot of people have said they'd like Garassi. I don't want Garassi. I don't personally think it's the right sort of striker for Man United. That's just a hunch. Fabrizio's given an update. Dortmund keep insisting on Garassi deal as priority, even after decisions to part way with their manager. Dortmund are pushing on player side with contract proposal and project presented, waiting for green light. Release clause 17.5 million euros. So Garassi looking like he is heading to Borussia Dortmund, which would be another striker off the list for Manchester United, which, honestly, I don't really care. I don't really care. What are your thoughts about Man United playing opening game on a Friday night? Well, apparently the first 6 Premier League fixtures will be TV decided by July the 5th, so a couple of weeks away, but Rocky Francis says that's cheap for Garassi. Well, that's his release clause, isn't it? So, look, I'm not saying Garassi's not a good player. I've just never felt like I've never felt like Man United were in for him, and that's been my honest opinion on it. And 2, I've never really sort of warmed to it like the right deal to do. But it looks like he's going to go to Dortmund. I can't be the only one who thinks we need to give Pellistri a proper chance before shipping him off, says Josh. What do I think about Man United playing their first game on a Friday night? Look, I'm the by all means get in the comments, let me know. I've seen a lot of people, match-going fans not happy about it, and I get that. Friday night when you're at work, you got to travel. It's not great, and I think most football fans do prefer a weekend fixture when they're travelling to the game, especially when you're coming over from Ireland or Europe or the rest of the world, let's be honest, or you're driving up from London or whatever, or you're at work in Manchester. A Friday night's not necessarily an easy game. But also what I would say is the other side of the coin is I remember watching Brentford when they got promoted on a Friday night against Arsenal and they beat them, and I'm not a massive fan of Friday night football. I don't really like Friday night football, but I think the opening weekend, I think it works quite well as a, early start for the Premier League weekend. So that's sort of my opinion on that. The one I hate most of all, I hate Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I've never liked the Saturday night 8 o'clock game. I just think Saturday night Premier League football, for me, Saturday night's a night for a Chinese, an Indian, a night down the pub, a film at home. That's the one I don't like. I don't mind Monday night football, but United often get a Friday night because they get most views, says Goldio. Yeah. Weren't we Friday night last year against Wolves? Or no, that was Monday night, wasn't it? I think that was a Monday night. I think we were the last game last year. I don't think we've ever had Friday night first game, Goldio, actually. John says, looks like Ineos might have had their hand in multiple bowls right now. I wonder how many players get from the first choice list, says John. Yeah, well, look, let's wait and see, John. I mean, if they pull off 4 of those deals, I'd be very, very excited. Very, very excited. I mean, look, Elise at the moment looks like he's going to Chelsea. Todibo, it's very quiet. Branthwaite, will Everton be silly about the fee? Xerxes, agents being silly about the fee. Frimpong, it's gone very quiet. Edison is obviously part of the Copa America in Liverpool, and now Neves is a lot of money. But, you know, I'd love to see United get 3 or 4 players off that list. I'd be over the moon. I don't really care what for, actually. What for would you take off that list? I mean, they're the 4 most likely signings we think at the moment. Doesn't mean we'll get any, but if you could take 4 from that list, who would you take? To me, I would probably jump in straight away and take the 2 centre-backs. I think they're really important. I'd have to take João Neves as well. And I'd probably take Elise or Frimpong. Yeah, I mean, I know we need a striker, but we will sign a striker anyway. I don't know. I'm not overly obsessed about Xerxes as the striker, is what I'm saying. I'd happily buy another striker. But Branthwaite, Todibo, Elise, and Neves is probably what I would take. I mean, I do really want Frimpong as well. But I think the 2 centre-backs, Elise and Neves, I'd be over the moon with those 4, really. But I do want Frimpong. I do want Frimpong. There's no need for Edison if you get João Neves. And Joshua Xerxes, we do need a striker, but I don't think he necessarily has to be the striker. I don't think so. What about the Lopez story from Barcelona? I put the Lopez story in the same place I put the De Jong story and the Roque story. I don't know about that. Manchester United now regard Ahmad as one of their most integral squad members for the future. That's coming in from what's his name? I don't even like saying his name. I really don't. So I'll just say Manchester Evening News. I just don't respect that guy at all. I mean, yes, he's got connections with Man United, but why people want to retweet him like some sort of font when he's been so poisonous towards the football club, I don't know. But, I mean, it's interesting. I think Ahmad is one of those players that I was sort of like, I've mentioned it a few times, I wouldn't be surprised if we sold him. I like him. I want him to stay. But you look at last season and you think, you know, where is he in the team? But I think that's probably an Ineos decision as well. I think Ineos would look at someone like Ahmad and say, this is the sort of player that we want at the club. So I think that's a real positive. Definitely. What else have we got? I still think something will happen around Branthwaite very, very soon. Do you think Bruno will stay? The only way I thought Bruno Fernandes might go was if Ten Hag was sacked and then they brought a manager in and something happened there. A bit of an update in the Manchester Evening News saying that Casemiro is Casemiro's on holiday in the States and is poised to be on the West Coast for United's pre-season tour. That is plenty of time for Saudi Pro League or MLS retirement homes to make room for Casemiro. He's such a bitch, Luckhurst, isn't he? He really is. Low-level journalism. Like, he's just so bitchy about players. Like, why do you have to call it the Saudi or MLS retirement home? Like, there's just no respect, is there? There's absolutely none. Yes, I think we all want to sell Casemiro, but bloody hell. It's just, you'd think he'd go and take a few weeks off, reflect on why he gets so much shit, and actually approach being a journalist in the way that someone like Whitwell does, or Ducker does, or Stone does. But no, he's always got to throw in some bitchy comment about FIFA playing this or this, that, and the other. It's just, is the Saudi League a retirement home? No, it isn't. Of course, it's not. It actually isn't. Why is João Neves there? Why is Ruben Neves there then? There's loads of players in the Saudi League that aren't retiring. They've just gone there to make money. Call it, you can call the Saudi League a lot of things, but I wouldn't call it a retirement league. There are players that have gone there to retire, of course, but look at Kante last night. He's still only 33. I'd call it the lottery league, exactly. I think the Saudi League is the league where you can go and make life-changing money. It's like Fury and Usyk. That's not a bloody... Fury Usyk in Saudi Arabia, was that the best fight we've had in years? On paper, or was that two finished boxers going to get a paycheck in Saudi? I think people disrespect what Saudi Arabia is. Obviously, you're going to be able to attract players that... You're going to go for players like Ronaldo and Benzema because they're coming towards the end of their career and they're going to be more willing to come. But that's not their game plan. The Saudi League isn't to just go, oh, you're past it, come here for big money. They actually do and would love to take Bruno Fernandes. They would love to take Bruno Fernandes. They've tried to get him twice. They've taken people like Ruben Neves. That's not what the Saudi League's all about. But ignorant Luckhurst would say that because he hasn't got a bloody clue. That's not what the Saudi League is trying to do. It's not what they're trying to do with boxing. It's just they do end up taking players because they're high profile and those players are more willing to go. But I mean, I think Casemiro does need to go there ultimately. What about Kante? I mean, it's got nothing to do with Man United. We're not going to sign him or anything like that. I think Kante went to Saudi Arabia because of injury. I couldn't believe how well he played last night. I didn't understand why he was playing for France when they've got Camavinga and other players that could play in that role. But he was man of the match. He was unbelievable. I didn't realise he was still only 33. But in fairness, he obviously couldn't deal with the demands of the Premier League anymore. And that's why he went out there. But, Kante could still be one of the best midfielders in the world. I just don't think his body can do it week in, week out. And obviously he fancied the Saudi League for a bit of money. Simple as that. I enjoy, and also just on the Euros, we are doing every game as a watch along on That's Football. So keep getting involved. We'll be 7 o'clock tonight because it's 8 o'clock Portugal. But bloody hell, talking about Luckhurst and other journalists, he was one of them. And there was others. The way Ralf Rangnick got treated by the Manchester United press was disgusting. And it's not the first time. They were trying to do it to Ten Hag last year. And thank God some of them got blocked. They should be banned completely in my book. But their treatment of Rangnick was disgusting. I was driving back from doing a podcast with Ben Foster yesterday. And the radio was on. And they were talking about Ralf Rangnick because Austria were going to play France. And you know what they said on the radio? They were calling him Wreck-It Ralph. And they said, oh, this was a name that Man United fans came up with. I nearly had to stop the car. I was like, hold on a minute. They were basically saying that Man United fans didn't like Ralf Rangnick and took the piss out of him and disrespected him. I was like, hold on a minute. Never, ever have I seen Man United fans have a bad word to say about Ralf Rangnick. It was not Man United fans who had a problem with Ralf Rangnick. It was certain Man United players and it was the Man United journalists who only know about the Premier League who basically started calling him Wreck-It Ralph and a professor because they had absolutely no idea who he was or what his background in football was. They saw a guy turn up, sit in a press conference, sit them down with words and were like, who's this? Who is he? Who even is he? And they hated it. And they took the piss out of him. And they were vile towards him because they have no idea who Ralf Rangnick is before he came to Manchester United. And watching what he did with Austria last night is exactly why many people, including myself, really like Ralf Rangnick. As a coach, as a director of football, whatever, his knowledge of football is immense. And we should have kept Ralf Rangnick at this football club. Not as a coach, he should have took Murta's job. That was a big mistake. And you listen to his press conferences at the time, and I used to love them. But everything he was saying 2 years ago is still relevant today. Open heart surgery, wrong attitude players, the structure of the football club. Rangnick was absolutely wasted wasted by Manchester United, and I'm really pleased for him what he's doing for Austria. I hope they can bounce back from that because they were unlucky last night. But Man United fans did not hound out Ralf Rangnick. Man United fans did not slate and slag off Ralf Rangnick. That was the press. The press were bloody another foreign manager coming into the British game, getting absolutely ridiculed from day one. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And Man United fans are not taking the blame for that. Man United fans, we were getting beat nearly every week under Rangnick, and people were absolutely okay with it. They were singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt" against Brighton. The away fans were singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt." That was when we'd given up on the players. What Rangnick was saying in the press conference was absolutely spot on. Just another example again of the Man United press not being in tune with Man United fans because they can't move their own head from their arse. It's amazing how history gets rewritten, isn't it? Man United fans came up with the Wreck-It Ralph name. Man United fans didn't like Ralf Rangnick. Just bollocks. This is the problem with the media. They talk for us. You don't talk for us. Like, do your bloody research. People were talking about Rangnick to Man United 2 years before he came. Like, people knew who Ralf Rangnick was. It's not our problem that the press didn't. But I was pleased with him last night. I thought he did really well. And I wish him all the best. And I think we wasted an opportunity there. He should have come in as the director of football. But are we planning to play Delo at left back, says Josh. Why Frimpong? Well, we're not. That's not players we're signing, Josh. That's just an idea. Mark, one thing I want to see is a change in transfer policy. A multi-target approach needed per position, says Elliot. I agree. I'm not talking about sex, Tina. We have against Saints, Jose, Zlatan, Pogba, I believe, says Goldio. There we go. Thank you. Anyway, look, absolutely fantastic show this morning. Really enjoyed it. Lots of conversation as always. The day ahead, 2 o'clock show as usual. Well, no, 2 o'clock show because there's no 2 o'clock. That's Euros game. 7 o'clock tonight because it's 8 o'clock. I'm losing my voice now. My nose is going. My voice is going. I'm fed up of this bloody pollen. Ryan says, what's your thoughts on Luckhurst Ahmad news? I mean, I don't like that journalist. It has been a personal thing, but I just don't like any. I don't really like. I'll talk about Manchester Evening News. Don't want to talk about him, to be honest. Have a lovely rest of your day, MKF. To be fair, Rangnick's Geoghegan pressing would have been amazing if United was full of players willing to run, says JT. Portugal played tonight, finally. Yes. So we're back at 2. If anything goes on in between, absolutely fantastic. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Get your comments in, as always, and I will speak to you a little bit later. Have a great day, everybody, whatever you're doing. Take care. Speak to you in a bit.